Alright, so today we're gonna be talking about Basmu. So this is a gun that came up a lot in some comments, and I think it's because with the new Gargoyle Cry event, a lot of people got their hands on it, and they saw it on the list, they don't really understand it, and it makes sense, it's not an easy gun to understand how to build. So I'm gonna give you my two builds and have some explanation with it, because I don't think it is an easy gun to understand on how to build. So with that being said, if we go to our config C and see what the gun is like, we're gonna see it has low crit, decent status, and it is electricity innate with heat innate on each radial attack. So already we have in only electric, only heat, so any kind of mod that we're gonna put that has any element will combine. So if we put toxin, we get corrosive and gas at the same time, and electricity heat disappears, and therefore we have a lot of different things happening. So we're gonna spawn a bunch of these heavy gunner Xmas, 20 of them in fact, and show you a little test. So to understand, the Basmu has a bit of AoE on its own, not a lot, but it is nice for trash mobs. In general, its primary fire is just a fully automatic spray and pray, whatever. Feels pretty good because it recharges very quickly. And its secondary fire is a huge AoE that when you get a crit buff in your Kavat is actually doing quite a bit of damage. The reload mechanic doesn't really matter for normal enemies, it just removes any kind of debuff sentience may have. So that is the mechanics of the gun in general. So what is happening here? Basically, we get two builds, and both of them are focused on high-level Grenier enemies in my case, because I have Bane of Grenier mods on the Riven and Prime Bane of Grenier here. So, a lot of Bane. I know how people love Bane. So, let's dive into it. So first of all, we have the Roar build. So the Roar build is focused around damage over time, and you may hear this as DOT, DOT, damage over time. It focuses on having 1, 2, 3 kind of damage over time effects that will bleed enemies to death very, very quickly. So I'm gonna take my fire up and forget to go with Roar. Amazing. Sorry about that. Eclipse does nothing on this gun. Alright, so Roar. So with Roar, we're gonna see that we get a lot of procs and then it just goes nuts. Generally, you do need to stack a bit, so I'm gonna stack a bit of Deadhead. So we have 2 Deadhead stacks now, and you're gonna see we shoot a bit, but the procs just go nuts after. Obviously, with so much Bane, it makes sense that the stacks go so nuts, but we have actually tripled off. Heat, electric, and slash. And slash goes through, everything goes through. It just hurts a lot. These guys are generally very tanky. Like with other guns, you would have a hard time killing them very quickly. But with Basmu, with this build, you shoot a bit and then you let the triple dot do its work, and it just goes nuts. So that is one of the builds. I ran out of roar, so the 2 last guys died pretty slow. But now, here is the other build, and this is what I use most of the time. So the difference was, instead of Serration here, I think? Yeah. So use Serration here to try and boost the base damage of the heat proc and the electric proc, because we are going for only dots, and added Malignant Force and Rhyme rounds instead of Hammer Shots and Serration. And this now allows us to have Viral, still have triple dot from this, but then we can now go Zada's Whisper. So why would we want to go Zada's Whisper, you may ask? Well, if we go Zada's Whisper, Dana's bonus is a separate instance, which means effective base damage, elemental, critical, and faction damage modes will go on it, and faction damage modes, after first applying to your weapon, will multiply the damage bonus a second time, effectively double dipping. So This happens with roar and damage over time effects as well, but instead of the damage over time effects getting the double dip, you get a double dip on the damage that you do itself. And, you know, on paper it may sound shit because you lose a lot of damage, but in practice, we're gonna see that things are very different, especially when I miss my build again. God damn it. This video is a disaster. Give me Zada's Whisper. Thank you. So with Zada's Whisper, we're gonna see that the first kill obviously quite a bit harder to get because you have to kill him, but then this happens. Yeah. I mean, we still have triple dots, but now we're one-shotting. Obviously the dot is much less, as you can see. It doesn't deal as much damage, or nearly as much damage, but this effectively one-shots level 175 Heavy Gunner Xmas units. So, yeah. I've made a build of this in the past, but not quite explaining why it works. But you can see the Zada's Whisper double dipping with faction mods. That was one shot, by the way, makes a huge difference. That is one bullet. I don't know why one bullet dealt so much damage to these guys. It shouldn't deal that much damage. I was even surprised myself to see how much damage one bullet dealt. But yeah, you essentially have a gun with infinite ammo that does this and has a bit of AoE for the flash mods. And generally faction mods just make this gun insane because of the triple dots, the innate triple dots. And now that I have Kavad buff, I can actually show you what the secondary fire does, because the secondary fire has really high crit damage, but no crit chance. And yeah, whenever that happened, you just kinda... Yeah. Cool gun, honestly.